Welcome to Dot Life, Dorchester's only hyperlocal podcast with news, commentary, and analysis. I am really excited today. We are checking in. I know we talked about legacy businesses a couple of weeks ago. Well, now we're going to talk to new businesses, a couple of new businesses that just opened here in Dorchester, check in on how they're doing, what advice they have for other business owners. But before we get to that, of course, we are going to talk about this week's news. And I'm really excited because Cassidy and I are on for the first time, and she knows sports. Yay!
I'm back.
Really excited to have you, Cassidy McNeeley from Dorchester Reporter.
Happy to be here.
Thanks
I don't really know football, though. I'm mostly just hockey.
I'm down to talk about hockey as long as we don't talk about the Sabres.
Okay, that's fine. That's
Cool.
fine. The Bruins had a good game against...
Probably the Sabres.
Yeah. I think it was the Sabres.
Yeah.
No, they played the other day against Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay.
They got a nice win, and Pasta scored his 400th goal.
Nice.
So-
He's one of the few Bruins I actually like. And
Yeah.
we should probably introduce Bill. Bill Forry.
There's no need. Nobody cares. I'm not going to add anything to the hockey discussion at all, or the football. But I don't even know why I'm here.
You're
it
not
really
even-
should have just been the Cassidy McNeeley show this week.
It's the Cassidy McNeeley paper this
It
week.
is. She has
So,
3 bylines on page 1.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice
Congratulations.
Thanks.
job. Before we get into the reporter, obviously we do have to talk about football. Sorry, Cassidy.
It's okay.
What's going on with the Eagles?
The Boston College Eagles,
Yeah.
the 1-8 Boston College Eagles. I don't know.
yikes.
I'll tell you next week because I am going to the home game against Georgia Tech. It's the final home game of the season,
Wow.
and it's been a brutal season for the Eagles and
You
Bill
were not
O'Brien.
expecting that, were you?
Not at all. I think
Wow.
nobody was. I thought it might be, we might not be break 500, but nobody saw this like wipeout,
Yeah.
possibly 1-9 season coming. And yeah, it's sad. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm sad for my boys who are a senior and a freshman
Yeah.
together for 1 year on campus, and you'd love to have like just a
banger of a
dynamo
season, yeah.
and beat Notre Dame at home and all this stuff that wasn't meant to be. But we'll end on a strong note with a good family tailgate on Saturday.
That's awesome.
That's good.
Also, you have your Patriots playing tonight.
Yes, we
So-
don't know the outcome yet. We won't know for this episode.
Oh, they lost. It was a blowout by the Jets.
No way. Well, listen, it's a Thursday night game, and that always makes me nervous, but I'm still picking the Pats
Yeah.
over
Well,
the Jets.
we have the Bucks, which hopefully they got so tired running after Drake May and Trayvon Henderson, I guess,
Yeah.
had quite a game.
Great game.
So hopefully they'll be tired and we'll beat them. But
Well, you're due for a win. You're
I don't
due
even
for
want to
a win
talk
in
about this
Buffalo.
last week. We're erasing the Miami game from the files forever.
Don't blame you.
All right, so we're going to talk this week about some updates in crime stats in Dorchester, a new luxury restaurant, what is going on there, and some hockey news, not Bruins.
Though the Bruins do play tonight, too. They're
Who do
playing
they
the
play?
Senators tonight at 7, so
Okay.
hopefully when everyone's listening, we have another win.
We had the Mammoth last night, and we will not talk about that. So you went to a meeting, Cassidy, of the C11 police division? Is that what it's called?
District.
District. And they were talking to residents. What was that all about?
Yeah, so I attended Area C11's CompSat, its community CompSat meeting. Essentially, it was a space where Commissioner Cox, commanders, and officers from C11 got to gather and talk with community members. They went over some of the data from January 1 up until present day, like November 1st.
Okay.
And then let the community chime in with their concerns as well. So it was more of an open conversation instead of just like, this is what's going on. It was, we want to hear from the community.
And C11 covers, Bill, remind me.
It's basically like Eastern Dorchester from Washington Street to the sea,
Okay.
and from Columbia Road down to Lower Mills.
Okay. And what was the attendance? Did you get a lot of people there?
It was a decent turnout. There was probably 50 people in total there, 20 of which were officers in uniform, happy to participate.
Oh, wow. I tend to find when I go to these community meetings, the people who come tend to not be shy. So I assume there was some feedback for the police?
Yes, there was definitely some feedback. The concerns that stood out to me, one of them was Bill and I talked about, there's frequent fights kind of happening at Ashmont Station.
There sure are. I walked by one the other day on the Radford Lane side. People, like teens, were in that little box to go in, and they were like screaming at each other.
Yes.
And I got very uncomfortable.
Yeah, so that's like the exact concern parents were sharing is their kids are traveling through Ashmont Station, taking different trains and buses to get to and from school or to activities. And meanwhile, there are these unsafe things happening really
Yeah.
close by. The officer suggested that people take videos or photos and send them their way, and they can try to hold everyone accountable, get in touch with teachers and families, and get to the root of some of these issues.
So I do have a little bit of reaction to that, because they're not doing anything illegal. They're just arguing in a train station. What happens if you do call them? Did the police show up? Are there arrests? Are there there's issues with the police and
I think what they were leaning more towards was if things get physical, is when you should get someone involved.
That is fair. That I would do.
Well, we've heard and seen some deployment changes around Ashmont Station lately.
Okay.
And because there have been instances of violence breaking out where people have been injured. There was, a stabbing last year that we came across when we were in Peabody Square at night.
Wait, what do you mean you came across it?
Well, we saw a victim. We actually saw somebody who had been injured.
Like
and
you
police,
specifically?
Linda and I saw.
Oh my gosh.
But it was the police had responded. It was an active scene. It wasn't like we saw it happen. But my point is there have been a lot of complaints about vagrancy, people congregating, drinking in Peabody Square around Ashmont Station. There's clearly a chronic issue there. And it's not new. It's just maybe gotten a little bit worse.
And it's in the daytime too.
Yes,
it's not just at night. Yeah.
So part of what the command staff, I don't know if they went into great detail about this, Cassidy, but I know that a couple weekends ago, I did run into a walking beat officer daytime in the Ashmont area, and he told me he'd been stationed to patrol Ashmont to respond to specifically concerns about people congregating, blocking the sidewalk, drinking in public, just quality of life things. Yeah. And he was pretty candid about, to your point, he's really not there to chalk up a lot of arrests.
Yeah,
I mean, he'll do it if he has to, but his message was, look, guys, I don't want to be down here giving you guys a hard time. Maybe just don't be drinking in public,
Right.
Don't bother people. Definitely don't. If you bother this merchant, I'm going to come broom you.
Yeah.
So, and that's a little bit of a subtle touch from a pretty seasoned officer. Who knows? There's other big issues in the city, but this is a quality of life thing that matters, and it does impact the business district. It impacts neighbors and commuters. And it's good to see that they're using walking patrols around there.
Yeah, they definitely mentioned that. And I think one thing that stood out to me was Captain Sweeney from C11 had said, this is why communication is so important. They can't know where to put officers unless people are telling them what's going on and where these officers need to be.
Yeah, I guess that's a reason to call in things, even if it's not, a dangerous situation. But I think the good news is it sounds like dangerous situations, dangerous crime, violent crime is down in C11 from last year. Is that right?
That is correct. That's based on the stats that the police, they put out basically a dump of statistics every week. And at the meeting Cassidy covered, they were really focusing on C11. C11 of the police districts locally is having a pretty good year. There's 4 fewer homicides in 25 as opposed to 24. On the C11 district.
To date. Okay.
Through, now is November 12th.
Yeah.
But there has been a rise in homicides citywide, unfortunately, this year. We've already surpassed the 2024 number of 24 homicides last year, which, as the mayor said at the end of last year, they had a press conference say, this is the best year we've had on recorded history.
So it's not surprising that it went up a little. I mean, that was a great
year. It's not surprising. It's a little disappointing, honestly.
Yeah.
I think, we've seen a big spike in B2, area B2 police district, which has gone up to 8 so far this year. Oval, I think they had 2 or 3 last year. And also on B3, which is all the other big Dorchester and Mattapan district.
But put this into context, Bill. So, we're saying a big spike, but the total is 28. Compare this to other similar size.
And even comparing it to Boston, 30 years ago, in which we, in 1990 we had 153 homicides that year, and it was a dangerous year. It was a bad year. We've had peaks and valleys since, but sustained, the last 5 years, has been in the 20s basically for total homicides citywide. Some other cities are having it worse. Obviously, we talked before the show about Baltimore. I think they have 115 homicides year to date. Compared, that's a comparable city in terms of size and population. But Boston's been, a leader, and there's no question about it. I think what this, the convening of this meeting last week is intended to try to keep that momentum.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I think that's what they were talking about at the meeting, right, Cassie?
Yes, and I think it's definitely something Commissioner Cox emphasized at the end. He reminded everyone in the room that, based off the statistics and how safe people feel in our city, Boston is different.
Yeah.
So just trying to remember that and trying to be aware of the different resources we have and the help that's out there.
Yeah.
The one thing that did seem like it was up was shoplifting, which
Yes.
we've all seen, like the glass cases and all of the CVSs and things. Did they talk about shoplifting at all as a trend?
They did. That was the one thing. I think commercial burglaries, they said, were up 10% in C11. They talked about the safe shopping initiative, and that essentially is just using data that the police collect and being aware of locations and specific stores where some of these shoplifting incidents are occurring, and then maybe having officers patrolling those areas more frequently to try to deter this thing from happening.
Yeah, Seth Daniel reported earlier this fall that they actually were doing some stings in some of the like CVS, Walgreens pharmacies, which are chronic sources of shoplifting problems. They are doing that, but they also talked, from what I read in your piece, Cassidy, about trying to deter package thefts, which is another big source of
Porch pirates.
Larcenies, and that's where cameras do help quite a bit. Ring cameras, personal home surveillance, which a lot of us do have mixed feelings about that.
Yeah.
They can be misused too, but they are a tool for homeowners and police to track crime and try to catch people who do steal packages. It's been probably the biggest change over the last number of years is all these home deliveries.
So many
of us get our home delivered Amazon packages, and the obvious spike is from that.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from that being part of the trend, do you think did they talk at all about other socioeconomic changes that are driving more shoplifting, or did they not get into that level of data? Like, I'm wondering if because costs are rising and food adequacy is a little bit scarce right now, is that driving some of this?
Surprisingly, they didn't bring that up.
Okay.
That is a very good point, though, and I wonder what that data would look like if compared.
Yeah, maybe I'll give him a shout, see if we can have him on.
It was interesting too that Commissioner Cox, they picked C11 to have this CompStat meeting. And I've been in a CompStat meeting in the usual ones, which are downtown, like the city at Schroeder Plaza, where the police have their headquarters, and they're not public. Usually, they're just the command staff sharing information. So it's interesting that Cox has really decided to bring this into a neighborhood setting, share data in real, pretty real data, real time data with neighbors, and then ask them to tell them what they think we should prioritize. I like that he's doing it. It's also coming in a moment, right? It was 2 days after the election, and the mayor is clearly looking at shuffling the deck a bit in her cabinet. We reported last week that Yasha Franklin Hodge is stepping aside from the administration as the head of the City Streets Bureau, which is a big portfolio, 700 employees under him.
And he'd been with Mayor Wu from the beginning?
From the beginning.
Okay.
And I think we'll probably see more of that in the coming days and weeks. So I think Commissioner Cox may want to plant his flag and say we're doing the work, we're engaging community. And C11 is a good place to pick because they are doing well,
right?
But it's also a community that we still have our struggles. A couple of nights after that meeting, there was somebody shot on Bowdoin Avenue, about 2 blocks from where that meeting took place. So, it's not like we've by any means cleared anything here, right? Exactly.
Yeah. Well, good to see them engaging with a community like that. Speaking of the community, you also got to go to a very nice new luxury restaurant in Dorchester. You've been busy this week.
I have. It's
Getting
been
out
fun.
Of the town, yeah. Tell us about, is it Acapella by X?
Yes,
is that the name?
It is Acapella by X. It is where the former Blarney Stone was. So I actually never had the chance to go there. So Bill might be able to fill us in.
I took care of going to the Blarney Stone for a long time, yeah.
So I'm not sure how it looks differently on the inside compared to that place. But from what I've learned, the vibe is pretty different. It's supposed to be a luxurious, like high-end spot.
Okay.
So as soon as you walk in, you kind of get that feeling just from how modern it is and the decor. But the things that stood out to me is there's a dress code. So it's not like a typical Dorchester place where you bring your kids to hockey practice and then just hop in the car and go to dinner. This is something that's going to take a bit more planning. There is going to be valet parking, which is impressive. There's a VIP booth. live music, and an international cuisine.
Do you book the VIP booth, or do they
Yeah.
tell you qualify for the VIP booth?
Yeah, they said that the VIP booth is for large parties, and you can book online or on the phone. It's still in the main dining room, but a little off to the side. It's a massive booth, as you'd imagine. It can fit about 14 people comfortably, they said.
Okay.
And the thing that makes it different and special is the menu is going to be a little different. So the chef will have some specials on there. They're calling it the black menu, I believe.
Okay.
And then the other thing is the restaurant has appetizers, tapas, and entrees. What this table can get, I think, is called tablas, and it's more of a family-style dish. So
cool.
if there was 14 people there and 10 of them wanted a Chilean sea bass, they can make it and present it in the appropriate way for that large group.
Nice. That's very cool. What kind of food is it?
It's international cuisine,
Okay.
so they kind of have a bit of
mix?
everything.
Okay.
Yeah. From what I saw at the menu they have right now, which is just their soft opening menu, there were things like Wagyu sliders, tacos, the Chilean sea bass, like I said, and then they even had a Dubai chocolate kind of dessert thing.
Nice. What's the price point we're looking at? Like a table of two, Friday night?
The entrees looked a bit more expensive than other restaurants in the area. When I took a look, I want to say they were all in like the $30 to $40 range.
Okay. We don't have anything really like that. I guess Via Canuccia is similar in terms of vibes.
Yeah, Via
Small,
Canuccia is more of like a bistro cafe vibe,
Yeah.
and this one is definitely, I think, heading more towards the and she used the S word in your interview, the seaport.
Oh,
Which
I was like, what is the S word?
It's either south of the seaport, and she said seaport in your interview.
She did.
And that triggers some people because like we don't want to be the seaport.
Right.
We're Fields Corner. I think that there is a place in the sort of ecosystem in Dorchester to support a whole range of things. To date, it hasn't really supported this sort of a higher end, intentionally like sort
Luxury
of
or
luxe.
exclusive, yeah.
And we'll see how that goes. They may have to tinker with it, but
Yeah.
I think it's let's give it a shot, give it a try.
Yeah.
And this group who's behind it, you talked to a couple of the people involved there. It's interesting. The young woman who's on the cover of the Reporter and gave you the tour, Emma.
Yes.
Is a young woman. She's, I think, 19.
Yeah, she's only 19 years
She's
old.
the
gosh.
floor manager.
Wow.
And her dad is like the head chef.
Yes.
Oh, it's a family restaurant. That's cool.
Yeah, her mother also works in the kitchen. Her younger sister is too young to serve at the moment, but I know she's itching to get involved too. And then the other owners are Giancarlo Fernandez and then Anthony Cruz. So she said the whole staff there is kind of like a tight-knit community family style.
I do like that if they're going to bring that kind of restaurant to Dorchester, it's not one of those like kind of restaurant groups just
Right.
bringing another location. It's actually a like individually owned. That's neat.
It's Emma Ureta, and her dad, I think, is
Freddie.
Yeah.
Freddie,
So
yes.
they're still they're not rolling out like the full menu all at once here.
yet.
Like
Yeah.
it's kind of a test kitchen situation going on from what you described, and there's a really cool video that Cassidy shot that's on the site too that people can watch and get a flair for the way it looks. And folks who were in the old Blarney Stone will recognize the space, but it has been transformed with the decor and these like really kind of burnt orange chairs like around the bar that are sort of velvety looking.
Yep.
I don't know. There's murals in there.
No Whitey Bulger.
Maybe they read the Reporter and decided against that.
They took it down.
They're like, you know what?
No, they definitely chose wisely, and I think people are excited about it. There's been a lot of response to your article online, and
Positive?
yes,
Good.
mostly positive. There's a couple, mentioned a couple of people like Seaport. What's that all about?
Yeah.
And people said, calm down.
Yeah.
Let's give these folks a shot, and we intend to. I think we'll have to pick the right night to go and test it out soon, and we intend to go. And
Are they full open or are they soft
No,
open?
so it's a soft opening, and then their official opening is going to be in December. They don't
Okay.
have an exact date yet, but
Very
early in
cool.
December.
I mean, it's great to go out to Seaport or other places to get that kind of dining. That's lovely. More Dorchester people should do that. But it's also great to have an option here if you don't want to go all the way
I
downtown.
agree. You don't have to
really
take
nice.
an expensive Uber or
Yeah.
anything like that. And I know my roommates and I, we were talking about it, and it honestly really appeals to, like, we're in our 20s and sometimes just want to get dressed up and go have a girls' night. That seems like the perfect place to do it.
But you're also like in your later 20s, so you don't want to be out all night.
Hey.
So like having
mid-20s.
Yeah, she hasn't quite qualified fully. But I think you're right in the sweet spot for the demographic that they're going to be looking for.
Yeah.
And that's an increasing, you just moved in the neighborhood. You're not alone.
Right.
A lot of young professionals are in Dorchester at the dot block and the various.
this one down here on Morrissey.
There's more to come. So
Yep.
I think that this slice of the market, can use a place like
think
this.
so.
And it's also, live music coming, which is another thing we really need in the neighborhood.
Live music at Acapella by X?
Yes, yep.
What?
I think right now it's on Wednesdays, but she said when they open officially, it'll be more of like a Tuesday, Thursday thing.
Very cool.
They're going for a bohemian romantic vibe is how Emma described it.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like a date night kind of spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
She
Love
had
that.
me, once we started talking about the cocktail menu, there's one drink, it's the espresso martini because Acapella by X. So instead of espresso. And
So all of the people who say
say
it wrong can actually say it.
Yeah, no, you can't even make fun of them anymore.
I can, and I will.
They have a twist on some of the typical drinks, and with the martini is they have hazelnut in it, which is my favorite flavored iced coffee. So
Nice. Bill, give us the quick rundown of the Blarney Stone.
yeah,
The Blarney Stone was awesome. And by the way, when it rebranded back in like the early to mid 90s, it had been kind of an old man bar. Just sorry, fellow old men, but that's what it was.
You weren't an old man in the 90s.
Not then.
No.
But when they rebranded and they have this beautiful patio, which by the way, Acapella by X isn't open yet, but they'll open in the spring,
Yes.
presumably.
Nice.
But Blarney Stone was famous for its patio and really kind of a more upscale Irish pub.
It was a
in
pub, but it
Dorchester.
served food? Did it serve food?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Really good restaurant.
Okay.
And the guys who own the Blarney Stone now run Milkweed, which is they.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
Lovely. Okay.
I'm going to zone on all their full names, but Ben and Dave.
Okay.
And they ran the Blarney Stone, I think, beautifully for 20 plus years. So we're a little sad to see them go, but this seems like it's a great replacement. And Milkweed is going strong
Yeah.
on Marcy Boulevard.
I love Milkweed.
Milkweed is awesome. No shortage of customers in there.
No.
And they now have a liquor license in there, so you can get your mimosas or your espresso martinis and Milkweed if you want.
Sweet.
This is the first time you've mentioned milkweed this season, I think. So
Yeah,
so-
I'm delinquent, and my apologies to everyone.
have you been to the real Blarney Stone?
In Ireland, yeah,
Yeah,
I have.
okay.
I kissed the Blarney Stone
Did you really?
many years
Nice.
ago. Yeah,
Nice.
the one in Fields Corner was better.
I've heard it's very disappointing.
It wasn't great.
Yeah.
And, whatever. And the Blarney Stone actually had the benefit of serving Guinness, like the Dorchester one.
Yeah.
So, and they had a great Guinness.
All right, let's shift over to hockey. So what's your connection to hockey, Cassidy?
Yeah. Big hockey family.
Okay.
And I have two older brothers and a younger sister, but it was my two older brothers who kind of got me into the sport. And obviously I wanted to be better than them. So
course.
I became better than them.
Of course you did.
But yeah, I played hockey my whole life and then played in college at Trinity College and continued coaching up until probably this past year just to, focus on reporting. But
Okay.
it'll always be my first love and I want to get back into coaching soon.
Very cool. Were you forward, defense, goalie?
I was a center. Oh, don't say goalie. I was a center, which people never guess because I'm 5'9", which is kind of tall for a girl. So everyone always assumes I'm a defenseman, but
Cool.
I was a center.
Nice. So you talked to a young Dorchester hockey player who is now in British Columbia.
Yes, I got to speak with Shawn Leary. So he is from Dorchester, of course. He grew up by Garvey Park. He started playing hockey when he was younger. He did all the sports in Dorchester like many kids do, but that was the one that stuck. And from what I learned speaking with him and one of his coaches, Mike Motto, who former BC star, he got the Hobie Baker Award and then went on to play on multiple NHL teams. Mike said that Shawn started turning heads at a very young age, and he was on his radar when he was 9 years old, playing for the
wow.
Boston Junior Terriers.
Okay.
So, as things go, his career progressed. He played at Lawrence Academy, and then, as many young men do before college, he decided to go the junior route. And he was playing in the NAHL, the North American Hockey League, for the New Jersey Titans for a season. And then Mike reached back out. He was coaching the Eagles, and he said, like, come to the BCHL, the British Columbia Hockey League, come play for me. Let's see how it goes. So Shawn went there and had a really great first season.
When you say the Eagles, just to clarify, you don't mean the BC Eagles, you mean the Surrey Eagles in British Columbia.
Yeah, so when I
So
said...
we've got BC, British Columbia, Boston
Oh my
College,
goodness, I
Surrey
didn't think of
Eagles.
that.
This is very confusing.
Okay, so Mike played at BC.
Yes,
and was an
Boston
Eagle there.
College.
Yes. Shawn is on the Surrey Eagles in British Columbia.
Right. Thanks for straightening that out. It was a little confusing to me because, unfortunately, Shawn Leary's team, the Surrey Eagles, are not having the best season, much like the BC football Eagles. But he seems to have a lot of promise. I mean, what you heard from sources who put us onto this story was like, this is a kid to watch.
Yeah, so everyone I spoke with said he's for sure a D1 player and that they hope to see him actually playing back in Boston soon. But then even beyond that, they expect him to play professionally at some point.
Maybe at the Sabres. That'd be helpful. We could use him.
Shawn is 20 years old. He's got a runway in front of him still, but
he does.
He's definitely turning heads. And he told you, I thought it was great that the way you ended the story, talking about how he does kind of miss being, because he's living with like a family,
A billet family
in British Columbia, and but he's kind of yearning to come home for the holidays. And he said the places he misses the most is the Mud House, Molinari's, and Ashmont Market, where he has to go to get a steak tip sub with extra cheese. And I think that's the first time on the pod that we've mentioned Ashmont Market
Or the Mud House.
or the Mud House.
Yeah.
But the Ashmont Market does have a killer steak and cheese sub.
Okay.
Steak tip sub.
This is the one on the corner of Ashmont and Adams, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he mentioned like missing his friends and family and how a lot of his buddies are at school around here now, but he really missed Ashmont Market.
More than anything. Is he a forward?
He is a defenseman, right-handed D.
Cassidy also you're doing a great job covering all these different things, but I think you really love covering the sports stuff.
It's
That's
really
your
fun.
sweet spot. But talk about like last night you were in somebody's living room in a Dorchester family that invited you in, of course, because
Broken.
Well, tell us about it. Why are we there?
Yeah, so there is a family in Dorchester, the McNeeley family, and they have a set of boy-girl twins. So it's Jasmine and Sheridan, and both of them are moving on next fall to play Division I soccer.
Nice.
So Jasmine's going to play on the women's team at UConn, and Sheridan's going to play on the men's team at UVM. Which the percent of athletes that go on to that level is so minimal. So the fact that
Twins, yeah. What neighborhood are they in?
They are they're in Adams Village.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and they've been
exciting.
coming up through the ranks and playing Dorchester youth soccer all these years, and that the McNeeley family is a lovely family, very active in a lot of the civic affairs in the neighborhood and beyond. But what a great story! And like UVM is like, didn't they just win the
They
championship?
just won the
last year?
championship.
Like these are like high caliber teams and high caliber people that our neighborhood's producing. So.
Yeah, and like Shawn, they both want to play professionally as well.
Maybe at Legacy FC.
That's what I said to her. She said she definitely wants to go to Europe for a little bit, but that would be cool. And then Sheridan already is in the Revolution Academy out of Gillette. So he's already made some kind of professional debut, but wants to return after college.
That's very exciting. Go Dorchester.
So that's a
Right?
story
We're
to
so
come
cool.
in next week's Dorchester Reporter, because we haven't written the story yet.
No, I'll get to that.
What else is on deck for next week?
So next week we have a whole variety of things on deck. But Cassidy, one of the stories you're writing is about a weightlifting program, a fitness program that's run right next door here at Southline. What's that about?
So at Southline Fitness Center, there is Inner City Weightlifting, which is a nonprofit that represents people who were formerly incarcerated and are impacted by systemic racism. So they kind of give these people an opportunity to become trainers and have a career in the weightlifting world. What I attended the other night was they actually paired with the Special Olympics. So
Oh, wow.
yes, there was a group of athletes, all 18 and up from the Special Olympics, that for 12 weeks straight were going every Monday and training at that gym. It was a lot of fun to be around. Since it was their last one, I got to see all their testing, which I know many athletes don't love, but they did great. I saw them max out on push-ups, squats. They did some heavy sled pushes at the end, but it was really great vibes in there.
And it's just here, just down the street.
we can walk right there.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we'll also be doing some coverage of the new housing report that just came out from the Boston Foundation, kind of diving deeper into that. And Seth is covering St. Mary's Women and Infant Center had a groundbreaking for their next project, big project on Jones Hill. And then we're getting right into Thanksgiving week stuff. So, more to come.
I'm excited for Thanksgiving.
Me too. You traveling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to Buffalo.
Back to Buffalo.
Yep.
It's Christmas in my book.
Yeah, it's already Christmas. Yeah. We have a Christmas tree in the lobby of our building, and it's getting mixed reviews, but Cassidy was very excited.
I walked in
I
Monday
would be
morning.
giving that a no.
Oh, I was so excited.
Well, thank you for coming. Great to have you. Great
Thank you
to
for
always
having
see
me.
you,
Thank
Bill.
you. Thank you.
And,
Thanks for having us again.
See you next week.
Mm-hmm.
See you then.